Welcome to our exploration of al-Andalus, a period of remarkable cultural, scientific and intellectual achievements during Moorish rule in the Iberian Peninsula, from 711 to 1492 CE. Picture a vast cosmic laboratory, not out among the stars, but right here on Earth, where ideas like colliding galaxies sparked new constellations of understanding. For nearly 8 centuries, this region wasn't just a geographical location. It was a crucible of innovation, a beacon illuminating what was then a relatively dim Europe. We're talking about a time and place where the pursuit of knowledge wasn't just encouraged, it was the very fabric of society, woven by scholars, artists and thinkers from diverse backgrounds. So what made this epoch so singularly brilliant, so effervescent with discovery? Was it the unique blend of cultures, Muslim, Jewish, Christian, all contributing to a vibrant intellectual ecosystem? Or perhaps the very air itself, charged with the thrill of rediscovering ancient wisdom while forging entirely new paths? Here, on behalf of knowledge itself, I invite you to journey with me, to peel back the layers of time and witness how Al-Andalus became a nexus for the arts, sciences and philosophy, fundamentally shaping the trajectory of Western civilization. We'll delve into the minds of its greatest thinkers, wander through its breathtaking architectural marvels, and understand how its societal structures fostered an era of unparalleled enlightenment. Prepare to have your understanding of history expanded, perhaps even challenged. We're not just looking at dates and events, we're exploring the very human endeavor to comprehend our world, our universe, and our place within it. Al-Andalus serves as a profound reminder that when different perspectives converge, when curiosity is unleashed, the potential for human achievement is, dare I say, astronomical. This wasn't merely a historical episode, it was a grand experiment in civilization, the echoes of which still resonate in our modern world, from the algorithms in your smartphone to the design of our cities. Let's ignite our curiosity and begin. Imagine, if you will, a vast interstellar cloud of dust and gas, the raw material for stars. In Al-Andalus, the dust and gas were the forgotten scrolls of antiquity, the wisdom of the Greeks, Romans, Persians and Indians. Scholars here didn't just stumble upon these texts, they actively sought them out, translating them into Arabic with meticulous care. This wasn't mere archiving, it was an act of intellectual resurrection, breathing life back into ideas that had languished in obscurity. Think of it, Euclid's geometry, Ptolemy's astronomy, Galen's medicine, all meticulously preserved, studied and critically expanded upon. This painstaking work formed the bedrock upon which new scientific edifices could be constructed, ensuring that the intellectual heritage of humanity wasn't lost to the cosmic winds of time, but instead became the launch pad for future discovery. Now let's zoom in on the practical applications, particularly in medicine. A towering figure from this era is al-Zarawi, often hailed as the father of modern surgery. He wasn't just theorizing, he was innovating, designing surgical instruments, some of which, astoundingly, would look familiar to a surgeon today. His encyclopedic work, al-Tasrif, detailed surgical procedures with unprecedented clarity, covering everything from cauterization to the setting of bones and even early forms of plastic surgery. This wasn't just about healing individuals, it was about systemizing medical knowledge, creating a transmissible and improvable body of practice. The intellectual rigor applied here saved countless lives and laid the groundwork for medical advancements that would ripple across continents and centuries, a testament to the power of observation and methodical inquiry. And what of our place in the cosmos? The scholars of Al-Andalus were avid skywatchers, driven by both practical needs like navigation and religious observances, and by sheer, unadulterated curiosity. They built observatories, refined astronomical tables, and made significant contributions to trigonometry and algebra, the very language of the universe. Figures like al-Zarqali improved upon the astrolabe, that elegant ancient computer for solving problems relating to time and the position of the sun and stars. Simultaneously, agricultural innovations flourished. Sophisticated irrigation techniques, drawing on Roman and Eastern knowledge, transformed arid landscapes into fertile gardens, introducing crops like sugarcane, rice, and citrus fruits to Europe. This synergy of celestial understanding and earthly cultivation demonstrates a holistic approach to knowledge, where the abstract and the practical danced in elegant harmony. The pursuit of knowledge in al-Andalus wasn't a solitary affair whispered in dusty corners. It was a vibrant public spectacle centered around magnificent institutions. Imagine Cordoba not just as a city, but as a colossal university campus, its libraries bursting with hundreds of thousands of volumes at a time when a monastery in Europe might boast a few dozen. These weren't just repositories of scrolls, they were dynamic centers of learning, attracting scholars and students from across the known world. The Great Library of Cordoba, under Caliph al-Hakam II, was legendary, a testament to the value placed on intellectual capital. Think of the energy, the intellectual ferment, as ideas were debated, dissected and synthesized within these hallowed halls, creating an atmosphere where curiosity was the most prized currency. And who populated these centers of learning? It wasn't an exclusively male domain, which for its time was truly remarkable. Consider Lubna of Cordoba, a figure who shatters many preconceived notions about women's roles in medieval society. She wasn't just a scribe or a poet, she was a mathematician, a palace secretary with immense responsibilities, and a key figure in the acquisition and copying of texts for the Royal Library. Her story, and others like it, though perhaps not as widely documented, suggests a societal framework that, at least in certain echelons, allowed for female intellectual participation. This inclusion, however limited by modern standards, undoubtedly enriched the scholarly environment, adding diverse perspectives to the great intellectual conversations of the age. Much like diverse elements in a stellar nursery, contribute to the richness of the stars formed. This intellectual ecosystem thrived on a remarkable degree of interfaith collaboration. Muslim, Jewish and Christian scholars, though living under Islamic rule, often worked side by side, translating texts, debating philosophical points, and pushing the boundaries of scientific understanding. Figures like Maimonides, the great Jewish philosopher and physician, flourished in this environment, writing influential works that drew on both Jewish tradition and Aristotelian philosophy, often in Arabic. This convivencia, or coexistence, in the intellectual sphere allowed for a cross-pollination of ideas that was incredibly fertile. It was a recognition, perhaps, that the universe of knowledge transcends religious or cultural divides, and that truth can be pursued from many paths leading to a common summit of understanding. When we think of advanced civilizations, we often look to their monumental architecture or their philosophical treatises. But equally telling, I believe, is how they manage the fundamentals of daily life, cleanliness, water, and the organization of their cities. In al-Andalus, these weren't afterthoughts, they were integral to their worldview. Public baths or hammams were ubiquitous, far more than just places to get clean. They were social hubs, centers for relaxation, discussion and even business, echoing the Roman tradition but imbued with a distinct Moorish character. The emphasis on personal hygiene, rooted in both religious observance and a sophisticated understanding of well-being, stood in stark contrast to much of contemporary Europe, where such practices had largely fallen into disuse. The mastery of water was another hallmark of Andalusian ingenuity. These weren't societies simply hoping for rain. They engineered their environment to bring water where it was needed with astonishing sophistication. Aqueducts, some building on Roman foundations, others entirely new, crisscrossed the landscape, feeding cities and agricultural lands. Within urban centers like Cordoba and Granada, elaborate systems of water channels, fountains and cisterns provided fresh water for drinking, bathing and irrigation, even powering mills. This hydraulic engineering wasn't just functional, it was an art form, with water features becoming central to the design of palaces, mosques and public squares, creating oases of cool tranquility. The sound of flowing water was the soundtrack of Andalusian cities, a constant reminder of nature tamed and beautified by human intellect. This careful management of resources translated into remarkably well-planned urban environments. Cordoba, in its heyday, was one of the largest and most advanced cities in the world, boasting paved streets, street lighting, Reportedly, one could walk for miles at night guided by public lamps and an organized layout that facilitated commerce and community. Granada, with its famed Alhambra Palace, showcased a seamless integration of architecture and landscape, with water and gardens playing a crucial role in its design. This urban sophistication wasn't accidental. It reflected a deep understanding of civic planning, an appreciation for aesthetics, and a commitment to creating environments that nurtured both body and soul. It's a powerful example of how scientific understanding can directly translate into a higher quality of life for a populace. The artistic and architectural achievements of al-Andalus are not mere decorations. They are profound statements, mathematical poems written in stone, tile and light. Consider the Great Mosque of Cordoba, a building that evolved over centuries, each edition reflecting the changing dynamics of the Caliphate. Its forest of candy-striped double arches, a seemingly endless repetition of columns, creates an almost hypnotic effect designed to evoke a sense of the infinite, a connection to the divine. This wasn't just about scale, it was about the ingenious use of geometry and light to create a spiritual space that was both awe-inspiring and deeply intimate. The innovative use of horseshoe arches and complex vaulting systems speaks volumes about the engineering prowess that underpinned this aesthetic vision. Then there is the Alhambra Palace in Granada, perched like a jewel overlooking the city. It's a masterpiece of intricate detail, where every surface seems to whisper stories through delicate stucco work, vibrant ceramic tiles, and masterful calligraphy. The interplay of light and shadow, the sound of water in its courtyards, the seamless transition between interior and exterior spaces, it all combines to create an atmosphere of ethereal beauty and refined power. The Court of the Lions, with its famous fountain, is a marvel of hydraulic engineering and symbolic artistry. The Alhambra is not just a building, it's an experience, a carefully orchestrated symphony of elements designed to delight the senses and elevate the spirit, reflecting a sophisticated understanding of human psychology and aesthetics. Beyond these monumental structures, the decorative arts flourished with an almost fractal complexity. Calligraphy, elevating the written word to an art form, adorned everything from palace walls to everyday objects, often intertwining with intricate geometric patterns and stylized floral motifs known as arabesques. Ceramics reached new heights of artistry, with techniques like lusterware creating iridescent surfaces that shimmered like captured starlight. Music, too, was a vital part of Andalusian culture, with figures like Ziryab reputedly introducing new instruments, musical forms, and even influencing fashion and cuisine. This pervasive sense of beauty, this commitment to integrating art into the fabric of daily life, speaks to a civilization that understood the profound connection between the material world and the human spirit, seeing art as a reflection of cosmic order. One of the most debated and fascinating aspects of al-Andalus is the concept of convivencia, or coexistence, particularly among Muslims, Jews and Christians. Now, let's be clear, this wasn't a modern multicultural utopia free of tensions or hierarchies. Islamic rule was paramount, and non-Muslims had a specific legal status that included certain restrictions and the payment of a jizya tax. However, compared to many other parts of the medieval world, al-Andalus offered a degree of religious tolerance and interaction that was, for its time, quite remarkable. Scholars from different faiths collaborated, as we've seen, and communities often lived in close proximity, influencing each other's customs, languages and arts. This period challenges simplistic narratives of constant conflict, suggesting a more complex, nuanced reality of interdependent communities. This intermingling fostered an incredible cultural synthesis. Imagine a vibrant marketplace of ideas, not just goods, where Arab, Berber, Visigothic, Jewish and Christian traditions blended and transformed. This fusion was evident in everything, in the Mozarabic art created by Christians living under Muslim rule, which incorporated Islamic stylistic elements, in the philosophical dialogues that drew from Greek, Islamic and Jewish thought, and in the rich musical traditions that melded influences from across the Mediterranean and the Middle East. This wasn't just passive absorption, it was an active process of creative hybridization. resulting in a culture that was uniquely Andalusian, distinct from its constituent parts, yet deeply indebted to them. It's a powerful example of how cultural dynamism can arise from the interaction of diverse elements, much like complex molecules form from simpler atoms. The linguistic legacy of al-Andalus is perhaps one of its most tangible and enduring contributions. Hundreds, if not thousands, of words in Spanish and Portuguese, and subsequently in other European languages including English, trace their origins back to Arabic. Words like algebra, algorithm, alchemy, alcohol, guitar, sofa, sugar and orange are daily reminders of this profound linguistic exchange. This isn't just about vocabulary, it's about the transmission of concepts, technologies and cultural practices embedded within those words. The very language we use to describe the universe in mathematical terms bears the imprint of this era, a subtle but persistent echo of Andalusian intellectual vibrancy in our modern discourse. All golden ages, like the life cycles of stars, eventually reach their twilight. For al-Andalus, this decline was a gradual, centuries-long process known as the Reconquista, the Christian kingdoms of northern Iberia slowly pushing southward. This wasn't a single event, but a series of campaigns, truces, alliances and betrayals marked by increasing fragmentation within the Muslim Taifa states. As the internal cohesion of al-Andalus weakened and the Christian kingdoms consolidated their power, the balance shifted irrevocably. The fall of Granada in 1492 to the Catholic monarchs Ferdinand and Isabella marked the definitive end of Moorish rule on the Iberian Peninsula. This was a period of profound upheaval, displacement, and the suppression of a way of life that had flourished for nearly 800 years. Yet as the political entity of al-Andalus dissolved, its intellectual and cultural treasures began a new journey, seeping into the very fabric of a Europe on the cusp of the Renaissance. Scholars fleeing persecution or simply seeking new opportunities carried with them invaluable knowledge. Texts translated in cities like Toledo, which had fallen to Christian forces earlier but remained a centre for translation, became critical conduits for the transmission of classical wisdom and Arab scientific advancements into Latin and then into the vernacular languages of Europe. Think of it, the works of Aristotle, once lost to much of the West, were reintroduced largely through Arabic translations and commentaries. The mathematical innovations, the medical knowledge, the astronomical insights, all these flowed northward, providing crucial fuel for the intellectual awakening of the Renaissance. The legacy of al-Andalus, therefore, is far more enduring than its political boundaries. Its contributions to science, medicine, mathematics, philosophy, agriculture, art and architecture were not lost. They were transformed and integrated. The universities that began to flourish in Europe were, in part, inspired by the models of learning established in Cordoba. The architectural motifs, the agricultural techniques, even the very spirit of inquiry, all found new life. Al-Andalus serves as a powerful testament to the interconnectedness of human civilizations, a reminder that even in decline, the seeds of knowledge can travel across borders and across time to blossom in unexpected ways, reminding us that the universe of ideas is ever expanding, ever evolving and profoundly shared. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Al-Andalus. Its legacy of innovation and tolerance continues to inspire and remind us of the power of cross-cultural exchange. We've peered through the mists of time to witness a civilization that, for centuries, shone as a beacon of learning and artistry, a place where the universe seemed to whisper its secrets to those who dared to listen. The story of Al-Andalus is not just a chapter in a history book. It's a vibrant, living testament to what humanity can achieve when diverse minds converge, when curiosity is celebrated, and when the pursuit of knowledge transcends artificial boundaries. The echoes of Al-Andalus resonate still in the language we speak, the foods we eat, the science that shapes our world, and the art that uplifts our spirits. It reminds us that progress is rarely a solitary endeavor. It's a collaborative symphony played by many hands, drawing from many traditions. In an age where divisions can often seem stark, The lessons from this period, the value of intellectual humility, the richness born from diversity, and the enduring power of shared human endeavor are more relevant than ever. The cosmos itself is a testament to creation through interaction, and al-Andalus, in its own terrestrial way, mirrored that grand universal principle. So as we conclude this exploration, I encourage you to keep looking, keep questioning, keep connecting the dots across cultures and across epochs. The universe of knowledge is vast, and every discovery, every shared insight illuminates another corner of its magnificent expanse. The spirit of al-Andalus, that fervent quest for understanding, lives on in every curious mind, in every collaborative project, in every effort to build bridges rather than walls. Continue to explore, because the story of human achievement is a story that belongs to all of us, a narrative still unfolding across the grand tapestry of time and space.